Integration in logical learning.
Human reproduction, gametogenesis and menstrual cycle. Now what is gametogenesis? An organism undergoes a series of changes throughout its life cycle. Gametogenesis, spermatogenesis and oogenesis plays a crucial role in the humans to support the continuance of generations. Gametogenesis is the process of the division of haploid or diploid cells to produce new haploid cells. In humans, two different types of gametes are present. Male gametes are called sperm and the female gametes are called ovum. As you can see, a picture is given here for your knowledge. Oogenesis is the ovum formation and spermatogenesis is the sperm formation. The two types of formation and how it forms are shown here through this picture. In spermatogenesis, the male immature germ cells are produced from the testes. At puberty of male, this immature germ cell is converted into mature cells. Those mature cells are called as sperms. This process in the male is known as spermatogenesis. Spermatogonia are the diploid cells which can undergo mitotic division. Primary spermatogonium undergoes the meiosis and produces the haploid cells, which are also known as the secondary spermatocytes. Now these secondary spermatocytes undergo the secondary meiotic division to produce the immature sperms. At the stage of puberty, these immature cells are converted into mature sperms and this process is known as spermatogenesis. Follicle stimulating hormone FSH and the luteinizing hormone LH are involved in stimulating the spermatogenesis. What happens during oogenesis? In females, the immature ovum is converted into the mature ovum and this process is called the oogenesis. In the female ovary, millions of mother cells are formed during the fetal development. Now these mother cells undergo the meiotic cell division and lead to the production of primary oocytes. Now these primary oocytes are embedded with primary follicles on the outer layer. Primary follicles are bounded with more granulosa cell layer and form the secondary follicles. Secondary follicles then turn into the tertiary follicle and at the age of female puberty, the tertiary follicles undergo some structural and functional changes and produce the mature Graafian follicle. Since the ovum is released from the Graafian follicle during the menstrual cycle, the release of an ovum from the Graafian follicle is called ovulation. Ovulation is controlled by the female reproductive hormone which is stimulated by the pituitary gland. The follicle stimulating hormone FSH, estrogen, luteinizing hormone LH and progesterone. Now let us discuss about the menstrual cycle. What is menarche? The time in a girl's life when the menstruation first begins. The menstrual cycle is the regular natural change that occurs in the female reproductive system that makes pregnancy possible. During each menstrual cycle, an egg develops and is released from the ovaries. The lining of the uterus builds up. If a pregnancy doesn't happen, the uterine lining shades during a menstrual period. Then the cycle starts again. Now what are the stages of a menstrual cycle? A woman's menstrual cycle is divided into 4 stages: menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulation phase and luteal phase. Now what is menstrual phase? The menstrual phase is the first stage of the menstrual cycle. It is also when you get your period. This phase starts when an egg from the previous cycle isn't fertilized because pregnancy hasn't taken place. The levels of hormones estrogen and progesterone drop. On average, the women are in the menstrual phase of their cycle for 3 to 7 days. Some women have longer periods than the others. Now, what happens in the follicular phase? The follicular phase starts on the first day of your period, so there is some overlap with the menstrual phase, and it ends when you ovulate. It starts when the hypothalamus sends a signal to your pituitary gland to release the follicle stimulating hormone FSH. This hormone stimulates your ovaries to produce around 5 to 20 small sacs called follicles. Each follicles contain an immature egg. Only the healthiest egg will eventually mature. On rare occasions, a woman have two eggs mature. The rest of the follicles will be reabsorbed into your body. The average follicular phase trusted source lasts for about 16 days. It can range from 11 to 27 days depending upon your cycle. Now, what happens in the luteal phase? After the follicle releases its egg, it changes into the corpus luteum. This structure releases the hormones, mainly progesterone and some estrogen. The rise in the hormones keeps your uterine lining thick and ready for a fertilized egg to implant. If you do get pregnant, your body will produce embryonic gonadotropin (HCG). This is the hormone pregnancy tests detect. It helps to maintain the corpus luteum and keeps the uterine lining thick. The luteal phase lasts for 11 to 17 days, and the average length trusted source is 14 days. What happens in the ovulation phase? Rising estrogen levels during the follicular phase trigger your pituitary gland to release the luteinizing hormone LH. This is what starts the process of ovulation. Ovulation is when your ovary releases a mature egg and the egg travels down the fallopian tube towards the uterus to be fertilized by the sperm. Ovulation happens at around 14. You have a 28-day cycle, right in the middle of your menstrual cycle, and it lasts about 24 hours. After a day, the egg will die or dissolve if it isn't fertilized. Now, here are some necessary things which one needs to follow for their menstrual hygiene. Change the sanitary napkin every 4 to 6 hours. Wash properly. Don't use soaps or vagina hygiene products. Discard the sanitary napkin properly and stick to one method of sanitization. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any queries, you can put them down in the section box below.